Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive recorded live Saturday, 14 September 2013, episode 78. Bieber as Robin. All right, welcome to another episode of Two Guys Who Dive. I'm your host, Rob Wade, and I'm here with
Robert Garza.
And we're checking to see if we're actually broadcasting, because if you followed us at all with our interesting challenges with the software, they had yet another update today, just as I was getting things going, so I've been kind of panicked getting this stuff to work, so I need to see if we're actually getting audio out there.
If you can hear us, please call the studio and let us know.
Yeah, that's right. That number to call, 1-800-555-2525. Yeah, if you can pop over there and see if there's any audio coming out there. Meanwhile, I've got to bring Ronan in for his regular appeal. Okay, we got audio. Boy. All right, Ronan. Whiny baby, say hi to everybody. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Right on cue.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, interesting day today. Was working on a similar kind of setup at our church. We finally got a new media computer in there because we've been doing our weekly cast using my laptop, which is really woefully underpowered to really do a good job with that. But it was better than nothing. So the challenge, of course, was to get the equipment all set up, get it ready for service tomorrow. And, oh, by the way, we've got a media crew that's not seen this hardware yet. So,
okay, that should be.
So, like right after praise and worship, I'm going to be zooming up to the booth to help them manage all of this stuff, because they haven't been able to do all the things they're going to be able to do now.
Right. Wow, that's cool.
So, what we have at church is we have a media switcher, a video switcher, that we can bring in a regular camera, and then we can bring in, we can feed in our satellite, we can feed in DVD, Blu-ray player, as well as output from our laptop computer that projects all the words and stuff like that. Up on our big screen, because of course, like a lot of churches, we have a big projection screen, and so a lot of times we'll either have maybe the camera, the floor camera, showing what's going on up there, or while we're doing praise and worship, we'll have the lyrics up there, which is always helpful, especially with a new song. No, I've never heard that song before. So project that up there, but that now can also go through that video switcher. So now this video switcher outputs to a FireWire box.
Oh, okay, cool.
So basically, I got the church to buy the exact same computer I've got here in the studio, plus a FireWire card. So now they can bring that in. So in addition to, like, we can do the scenes here, they can bring in anything that's going through that video switcher, which is really cool because an example, not to get too production tech head for people, but I just think it's cool. If you're sitting in the congregation or an audience or whatever, and you're watching stuff on the big screen, it's not really impressive to somebody watching the live feed or YouTube to see a camera looking at a big screen on the wall.
Yeah.
It's like when you see people, they're trying to capture a video on TV with their camera, which is horrible.
Right, because it just doesn't look right. It looks kind of weird.
Yeah, and it sounds horrible and everything. So we have our mixing board, just like we have here in the studio. We have our mixing board feeding into that computer, and then we have the video switcher they can pull all those elements in, plus a HP C920 HD webcam to do the actual video shots. So
nice. So are you guys going to have like different shots, like from different angles? You got multiple cameras?
We will, as long as we're still using the standard def camera down below, we could switch between those two.
Oh, okay, cool.
But eventually we'll get all HD cameras, which
and that's the way to go nowadays. Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yep, looking forward to it. It's been fun. Of course, the challenge for me has been, as I put it all together, building what we call in the Lean Six Sigma world the standard work, or what some people call the user's guide, or the standard operating procedure.
Right, so that people can come in and say, okay, this is how you do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been using Microsoft OneNote. Since the Windows 8 machine, got them logged in, they access the SkyDrive, and so I've been building all their guides out on the cloud. So no matter what happens, they can always access it.
Right.
And I've shared it out to me so that I can actually log in as myself, either through my phone or notebook or wherever. I can update as necessary. If there are some changes in the procedures, I can quickly update it, and then they see it. So I've been building the guide for them on not just the specific step-by-step with screenshots and everything.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm going full out. I'm making sure that there's no mistaking. Circle this, point here. I mean, it's going to be...
You know, I had to do a training one time for an instructor course that I did. And one of the things was they actually picked the subject that I had to do the lesson on.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
But there was two of them. The other one, I got to pick myself. So what I had picked, this was back in the day, okay? This is in the 80s. The early 90s, was on how to format a hard drive. And I did screenshots on, like, you know, what the screens would look like, you know, old school, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually handed that out as a you know, kind of as a handout to the rest of the students.
Right.
And then I went into the whole thing, and they were like, so this is how you do it. I go, if you follow those exact steps,
you can't go wrong.
You're not going to go wrong.
Right.
Sure enough, about a week later, they were like, hey, that stuff worked. I go, there you go.
Of course, I lost everything, but...
Hey, but I did say
I thought this was lossless.
I did put there at the bottom of the handout.
This will wipe out your drive.
Yes, and use at your own risk, okay?
Nice.
But not responsible for any lost documents.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, unfortunately, while I'm setting all this up and doing screenshots and taking pictures of things, how it will look when they do things right, had different people, you know, Troy came by, and he was wanted to kind of look at how it was set up, and he was asking questions about, well, what about this, and can we that, and then our pastor they were out of town this week, and they got back today, and so he happened to come upstairs, and he wanted to take a tour of everything. So that slowed me way down on accomplishing it. So I basically have been setting the guide up for using this with three pieces to the outline, if you will: pre-production, production, and post-production.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, as there's things you have to do ahead of time to be ready. That, you know, adjusting titles, pulling images together, updating dates, whatever. And then you have the actual production.
Right.
Which you shouldn't have to do a lot of stuff live other than switching between what's going on. Then afterward, you may have some post-production. If there's anything that you need to edit out or add in, or fix the sound on or something like that, then you would do that in post-production. And then finally would be the part where you upload it to YouTube, add your description, and the title of the service, maybe some scripture references, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So all of that is part of the post-production. Well, I only got as far as the pre-production. I got that done, but...
Well, I mean, you know, what people don't seem to realize is that this, you know, even this show here, a lot of time goes into it. You know, you put a lot of time into it with, you know, software updates, title changing, you know, everything that you're looking at, even down to the little screen down here on the bottom.
Yep, the lower third.
The lower third, you know, that in itself had to be created. He created it, had the pictures. So it's a painstaking process.
Absolutely.
So it once it's set up, I guess it's easy to run, but it's not for the
It's
for
not one
the
of those
timid.
right.
It's
it
not
really
for the
isn't.
timid or the faint at heart. You know, you really got to want to do this. So I admire the fact that you actually take the time to do that, because it is a lot of work.
Yeah. Now these guys are and girl. We now have a girl who's interested in joining the media department. Before they had it pretty easy. Basically, they just had to do a little bit of pre-prep. You know, put the lyrics up on the software that would be displayed up on the big screen.
Yeah.
Basically, make sure the sound system's on, the lights are up, and then basically they could just click and go.
Yeah.
Minor adjustments here and there. Not a lot to do till towards the end of the service. Now they're going to have their hands full because the audio elements are separate from the video elements. The audio elements are all coming through a soundboard.
Yeah.
The video elements are all coming through either cameras or video switcher. So they're going to have to talk to each other, because there will be times where you want what's coming through a microphone to be also accompanied by the video that supports that. You know, whether it's a camera or whatever.
Right.
But there are other times where they may be, let's say, doing announcements. Well, you want to hear the announcements, but you want to display it. It's kind of like what we do.
Right.
Well, we're able to kind of do it all right here. But the way the booth is, they're separate, and it'd be kind of difficult for one person, as big as that board is,
To go from one end to the other.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. Tomorrow will be fun.
You know, they're learning a trade that might, you know, they might be able to use later on.
Oh, yeah.
So that's awesome.
So, all right. So, have you seen any movies? Any of the movies I've seen, or anything at all? Have you seen anything you want to review?
I wanted to go to the movies today, so I actually hadn't had a chance to, because of work and everything. You know, school starting. It's been kind of, rough, to say the least.
Really?
You know, new changes. You know, new superintendent and things like that.
That's right. You do have a new superintendent.
He kind of has been changing a few things for, you know, some of the actual administrators that are, you know, and it's like, you know how they say it kind of runs downhill. So, you know, it just kind of flows downhill. So, you know, it just kind of comes down, and good changes. Good,
okay.
Good changes.
Good.
The only problem, anytime you change something when people are used to, you know, repetition, it doesn't go very well.
Yep.
You know, complacency is a killer.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so when you come in and want to change something, you don't ever necessarily find that, you know, that rusty bolt just ain't gonna budge too well. You know,
that's right.
You got to break it loose.
Yeah. Well,
that's kind of the problem. But I think it's a good thing. Well needed change in some aspects. Some aspects I think could have been left alone, but that's just my opinion.
Right.
But for me at work, for what I do typically, there's been some changes, and some good, some not so good. But I'm just pushing through. I'm one of those guys that, you know, it's kind of like the military saying, you know, I'm staying my line.
This is right. Was it from Star Wars? Stay on target.
Yeah,
stay on target.
I'm just staying my line. You know, I have my responsibilities, and I think that's pretty much how
cool.
That's my mentality, at least right now it is.
Yeah.
But just extremely busy. And so I wanted to go to the movies. I hadn't had a chance to go to the movies. So I logged on to see what movies they were showing. They're not showing anything I really wanted to see.
You know, we were the same
except
way.
Except for Riddick.
Yeah, which...
Did you see it?
Yeah. I shared it. I shared my opinion.
Disappointed?
Yes. But I'll go ahead and reiterate, since you're here, we can talk about it. You know, I loved the first movie. That was the first in the series.
Right.
Really the thing that launched Vin Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what to expect. I originally was interested in the movie because it had Claudia Black in it from Farscape.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, this would be pretty good. And really, her role wasn't that huge, although the movie was a ensemble cast for the most part, until they started dropping like flies.
Yeah.
And obviously, it was a Vin Diesel vehicle. But I was pleasantly surprised, really liked it when they came out with the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Took it in a totally different direction, but it was still... they added a lot more to the whole mythos,
mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it. Some aspects I liked better. than the first. Some aspects I didn't like better. The ending could have been an ending.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decided to make the third one. Well, from the previews, it looked like it was kind of borrowing back to the first one.
Yeah.
That kind of feel. And so I kind of had some expectations, but I thought, well, how would he have gotten there from the end of the second one, where he was on the throne?
Yeah.
He was now given leadership over a planet. Well, sadly, not going too deep into it, everything that happened between the second movie and the third is shared with you via flashbacks.
Okay.
So he's remembering how he got
to where
to
he is.
to this planet.
Oh, okay.
And so it's funny that they advertised the movie with what's his face, Urban.
Yeah, Carl Urban.
He's only in the flashbacks.
Oh man,
that's it.
So all they did was take segments from the second movie and just
not even. As a matter of fact, not all. There's gratuitous nudity in the flashbacks.
Okay.
Just basically playing off, that he doesn't play their game, and then he's
So he's a stud.
You're very carnal, yes.
Okay.
And so Carl Urban's character, of course, still wants the leadership. So it's basically how does he get rid of him kind of thing.
Oh, okay, I see. Wow.
So then we see him adjusting to now being on this barren planet. And then it takes a turn that kind of borrows from elements of both the second and the first. And mercenaries involved, of course.
Yeah.
And, one of the mercenaries is played by Katie Sackett from the fake Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica.
You're talking about Married with Children?
No.
Then who?
Isn't that her name, Katie Sackett? From let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Sack Off.
Oh, okay, yeah, she was Starbuck, right? No,
yes.
who was she? Was she Starbuck? Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me switch to screenshot here. There we go. That's her. So, and she's okay actress. I'm not really impressed by her, but of course she's quite the foul-mouthed, crazy person, and she does her obligatory nude scene.
Oh wow!
In there, I was like, really? Was that necessary? Come on. Neither of the other two had that.
I saw one. I saw a movie, and it had nothing to do with these, but it's kind of like, I guess I understand what you're saying. There's violent movies out there that are coming out that are very graphic, especially now with the CGI and all that other stuff.
Right.
They're making it look, 3D like. But then they just got to throw in that one nude scene, that has nothing to do.
Exactly.
But it's just that, they just got to throw it in there. So
what's the purpose? Exactly.
So
so they did, and so anyway, there's also the CGI in this third movie was disappointing in places.
Oh wow.
There's what I call the speeder bike scene. That, and I noticed several people have posted on this, did not look believable. Didn't look real. And there are these native canine-like creatures that they were okay. I mean, obviously they're totally made up, but some of their movements didn't look right. But they did spend enough time on one that he basically raises that you kind of care about the relationship. And it goes a path that I was like, oh, come on, seriously? And so ultimately the movie does not end satisfying to me.
Oh, okay.
It should have gone a different way. It didn't. I was like, and I even told Tara as we walked in, and I was like, well, I was disappointed.
Probably, I think the last movie that I saw was Grown Ups 2. And that was because my wife wanted to go see it. And I was like, I'm not. The other guys, the other actors that were there, I like Chris Rock, even though he's got a wicked sense of humor.
Yes.
In his movies and the way he plays it, and then some of the other actors. I'm just not a big Adam Sandler fan.
No, me neither.
I think there's only 2 movies of his that I like.
Wedding Singer.
The Wedding Singer, I liked it. It was okay, but I actually like Happy Gilmore. Because he doesn't do stupid voices, even though he does, he does certain things that. Right. And then there's several people that always come out in all his movies, and they always play kind of dumb parts.
Yeah.
And I liked Mr. Deeds. It was kind of
Mr. Deeds, really?
Yeah, I kind of liked it. I thought the butler guy was funny, but it was pretty cool. It wasn't like his typical really dumb movies, like The Water Boy and all these other ones. But when I saw this one, I'm like, I never saw the first ones, but I'll go see the second one. Well, when I got there, you could tell that the humor was it was trying so hard to be funny that it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
And to me, that it was just, I literally was sitting there like, I want it to be over with. I want it to be over with.
It's like they're struggling.
Yeah, I liked, what was the movie? I liked Despicable Me better than I liked this other one. Yeah.
Really?
I was at least entertained with that movie.
Yeah.
But, and that was the only one that I've seen. There was another one that I wanted to see, but I think it's already passed. It was the Mortal Instrument.
Oh, really? That's not playing still?
No, it's not playing anymore.
City of Bones, right?
Yeah,
City
that's the one that I wanted to go.
Instruments.
That was the one I wanted to go see because I just kind of stumbled on it, and it's not showing here.
That shocks me because I think that was like on 2 screens, one of them 3D.
You see, so I kind of wanted to see that one, and no can do.
Let's see.
I missed it.
What is playing here right now? Cinemark. Showtimes. The Family, Insidious, Chapter 2, Riddick, Instructions not included. Never heard of that.
Yeah. They got a
bunch I can't believe 2 screens of One Direction.
Mm-hmm.
The Butler and Planes in 3D and We're the Millers. Yep, you're right. 2 screens of a flippin' concert video of another girl boy band. I'm sorry, that's a boy band. Sort of.
Yeah.
And Instructions not included, whatever that is.
I have, you see, I mean, the movie's just whatever. But, I'm just...
It's like, come on, can we get some decent stuff?
Yeah, I really wanted to see that. Did you get to see it?
What?
The Mortal Instructions?
No, I'm not. Those kind of movies don't.
That one I figured, what? It looked pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I wanted to check to see if they were showing and nothing, and then I look at what they're actually showing, and they're not showing anything good.
Yeah, I was looking at even movies upcoming. Battle of the Year, no, not interested. Prisoners, not interested. Don John, definitely not interested. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, I'm not a kid movie fan. Baggage Claim, never heard of it. Gravity, I will go see in spite of the fact that I can't stand either of the actors in it. Because the premise is just, it's my kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know, the one that kind of looked interesting to me was Rush.
I see Runner, Captain Phillips, Machete Kills. And yet another remake of Carrie.
Another one?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Good grief, can they just not let her alone? Yeah, that's all there is out there.
All right. Well, anyway.
So speaking of movies, yesterday they finally released, or yesterday, day before, Star Trek Into Darkness, which they had a special edition of it. has a special metal box. Pretty cool. Special edition. Very nice. Very nice. Let's see, it's tin. Really nice, attractive. Which also includes a little displayable image reproduction of the secret ship that is in the movie, the Vengeance.
Yep.
Pretty cool. See if I can put this into the camera. It's not focusing.
It's a die-cast little...
plastic.
Yeah.
But very nice. I was
Very
like,
nice.
Okay, got to add that to my collection.
You know,
So
we were
it's
we were
awesome.
actually talking about that just a little while ago. Is that we
Right.
noticed that when this movie came out, there was no, I guess, toys that came out with
Yeah.
the movie. You know, when the first one came out, they had little characters and stuff like that that we collect. We actually
Yep.
big Star Trek fans, myself and Rob, of course, which was not intentional. We just happened to have like the same show.
Yep.
And he's got a wide selection of some collectibles that are really
Yeah.
nice. I myself started collecting some, but I don't have quite the collection that Rob has. But these little things are actually nice to have because they're just cool. They look cool on shelves. So, but anyway, it comes.
Yeah,
with
that was kind of disappointing that they didn't have.
Yeah, they didn't have anything.
the con character. or any of that in
Nothing.
there.
So
Disappointed.
anyway, I'm gonna have to add that definitely. When I leave here,
definitely
you know
worth
where
it.
I'm going.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's there. They had several, so I don't think you have to worry about running out.
Cool. All right, talking about movies. What are we talking about?
Oh, okay. A couple episodes ago, we had the episode "Better Batman Than Ben Affleck." Well, apparently, several news agencies according to several news agencies, Justin Bieber is hinting that he's in line to play Robin to Ben Affleck's Batman in the upcoming Batman versus Superman movie. And I've got to show this picture. This is what the tweeted. His name stamped on it, looking like it's an official script.
Yep.
Now, either this is one of the most elaborate hoaxes, starting with the release that Ben Affleck was playing Batman, or the DC folks have completely lost their flipping minds. I mean, look at that. I mean, that looks official.
Yeah.
Could be still could be a hoax.
It could. I don't know why they would put his name across the script like that. I don't know. I think that's kind of. I don't know if that's kind of.
I don't know. Notice what he took the picture with? Is that the new iPhone S?
No, that's what I was looking at. It looked gold, but it's actually not.
It's just a white one?
Yeah, it's just a white one because
Okay.
of the flash that
Yeah.
gave it away. The new phone has the two little flashes going.
Okay. Yeah, so I was like, wow.
I wouldn't doubt that he gets a brand new one.
No, me neither. But more to the point, there's no way in Haiti. Well, I'm not going to see the movie anyway. If Ben Affleck really is Batman, I'm not seeing the movie.
Wow. I would.
There's just no way.
I don't know. I might go to see it just to see how bad it is. Just so that I can come and say
I don't like to watch train wrecks. And that's about all it'd be worth. It's the stupidest idea. Well, no. It was the stupidest idea to have Ben Affleck as Batman. If Justin Bieber is supposed to be Robin, that now becomes the number one most stupid idea that anybody's ever come up with.
Well, just look at it like this. It'll be entertaining because he's battling the crime and everything. He'll break out into a dance move, and then he'll start going back to fighting crime. It might be interesting.
Oh, it's just I'm like, what? They just I'm pretty much an official Marvel fan now. DC has completely lost it.
Pre-show we were discussing that, and I actually mentioned that this kid, he talented he may be, I think the like anything else, too much stardom too fast tends to break a lot of young people. He every time he's been coming out on the news lately, he's been coming out like, that they've been finding drugs in his tour bus.
Yeah.
That he's fighting with paparazzi. He's just, I don't know. To me, I think he's just losing it.
It's crazy.
So
crazy. What are these people? I'd rather they go with unknowns. I really rather they did that.
They kind of rolled the dice with the new Superman, getting that guy who played Superman.
And I liked the movie.
Yeah, he was an unknown.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew who he was until he played the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And supposedly it was like a really good movie. I didn't get a chance to see it either. It's horrible. I know, horrible. But
well, you can pre-order it now at along with World War Z and some other ones there at Walmart. So, gosh. So, all right. So on to scuba type news. Ran across this interesting bit of information. I did not know we had such a thing as the Miss Scuba USA pageant.
And it takes place underwater, folks.
Of course. But according to DiverWire, the Miss Scuba USA pageant is looking for both participants and sponsors for their 2013 event. They advertise that it's not just another beauty pageant, says Christine Watson, organizer of the first Miss Scuba USA event later this year. Let's see some information. While some in the scuba diving industry might immediately be a bit skeptical, Watson is quick to outline the qualifications. It's not just for girls that look good in a swimsuit. Well, that's good to know. It's going to take place in June during a 2-day event. Working with industry sponsors that include Oceanic Worldwide.
Cool.
Which we use a lot of their stuff. Miss Scuba USA officials will also be judging contests on their knowledge of the marine environment, current events, and basic scuba diving knowledge.
Cool. So then,
right. They have to be smart.
Yeah.
I love it.
Instead of talking about like world events and all that.
Oh, that's embarrassing. You've seen some of these videos with these crazy answers of, if you had to give up one of your senses, which would it be? Or if you only had one of your 5 senses that you could keep, which one? And the woman just kind of rambled on until she finally just says, "That's all."
That's all.
Had no. Oh, she was lost. Let's see. Plans are for the USA winner to travel the country, speaking about marine awareness, scuba diving, and encouraging people to get in the water and try scuba diving. Well, that's good. It's part of the larger Miss Scuba International program.
Ooh, scuba.
So it'd be like the Miss Universe.
Yep.
Let's see. Open to women ages 18 to 26. Well, I would hope this be true. One mandatory qualification is that all applicants must be certified open water scuba divers. I would hope so. Nice.
Wow. Well, hey, that's pretty neat. I mean, we didn't even know that something like this existed.
Yeah.
So, that's
cool. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So those of you ladies that are out there who are interested,
that might get us some more business, because we have the Miss Del Rio pageant, which is part of the Miss USA pageant system. So maybe we can convince them to do local
challenge,
Miss
search.
Scuba Del Rio,
a Miss search.
Yeah.
Hey, it doesn't hurt, and it is fun. It's fun. So
even if you don't win, you still win.
You win. It's a win-win situation, because you'll get certified for life. So
that's right. And since the age range for that is 18 to 26, you could just keep trying.
Yeah.
And you'd be a better diver each time. Well worth it.
Definitely.
So, last week got to talk about the stuff going on with Nokia having been bought by Microsoft. I'm feeling a little bit better about the whole deal, but there's still a large part of me that thinks it still would have been better Nokia in the partnership rather than swallowed up. A lot of people have been making the case now that there was evidently still some secrecy between Nokia and Microsoft, and that Microsoft could have made additional improvements or changes or enhancements to Windows Phone if they'd known what Nokia was doing. And so they felt, you know what, we need to tear those barriers down. Let's just buy that whole part of Nokia. So that means that we're going to probably see a faster iteration of updates and changes. And, of course, everybody was saying, well, that means pretty much all the OEMs are going to say, see ya. But evidently, so far, that's not turned out to be the case. HP is coming out with one. Huawei, or however you pronounce it, they're coming out with yet another one, and it looks kind of like a cross between the HTC ones and the Nokia ones. Samsung's coming out with a new one. Basically, all the players are ramping up.
Yeah, they're and it's that time. I was at the AT&T store asking questions about my service. And
what's wrong with your service?
Well, nothing. It was just I had an older plan.
Oh, you want to see if there was some different newer options?
Yeah, newer options and stuff like that.
It's always a good idea.
So I've had the same plan for probably 2.5, almost 3 years. So I went in there, and it's a good thing that I did because I got a chance to see the phones and stuff like that.
Right.
Of course, I see them when I go pay my bill, but I don't really get a chance to play with them.
Spend time, yeah.
So I was looking around and wasn't really impressed with a lot of the phones that they have out. Of course, we'll be discussing the iPhone here in a little bit.
Yep.
But and the lady was telling me that they're gearing up for that release already. They're anticipating,
right.
The usual stuff.
Right.
But what I was looking around was at some of the actual tablets that they have there.
They actually have tablets?
Yeah, they have quite a array of tablets there. Of course, they have a lot of the Samsung ones, and right next to one of the tablets, I thought it was like a mini Galaxy tablet, but it's they have the Galaxy Note,
right,
and then they have that other one that's bigger. It's called what is it? I even forgot, like the Mega. Yeah, that thing is ridiculous. I mean, come on, seriously. It's like holding this laptop up to your face.
Oh, it's a phone?
It's a phone. It's a phone. It makes the Galaxy Note look small.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
One of the guys I work with has a Galaxy Note. He loves it because it's got the stylus on it. He likes that.
Yeah, well, I have two of my coworkers. They both, first one guy got one because, he's a mammoth. He's got a huge hand.
Monster hands.
Yeah. And so for him, in that one, it looks probably like my iPhone in my hand. But then this other coworker got one too, and they love it. They say that it's it's an awesome, because of the display and the videos and everything else. But I want to say it's a Galaxy the Galaxy
Mega.
Yeah, the Mega, and man, it's just crazy.
I just noticed that. My lovely wife and the producer of this show, Tara, said she posted, I think the watermark name is normal, so each script is marked for the correct actor. And I buy that, but he's got to be in all sorts of trouble for showing. Bieber has got to be in trouble for showing that.
If they don't kick
unless
him
it's a big hoax. Unless this is one humongous hoax.
Well, unless they, he gets in trouble here we are, we gave this kid a script. Probably he probably tweeted it to all his friends already. What's the point of having him?
Yeah, because he's always on drugs now. So
yeah, he's always high on himself.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so
but anyway, I went in there and they had some nice devices, and then my son again comes up, Dad, will you buy me a Windows phone? I was like, who are you? I'm sorry. No.
Well, through Amazon today, they announced that the Lumia 1020 is now dropped to $149 on contract. So They're really making it enticing.
No joke. I walked in there. They don't have the yellow one anymore. They only have the black ones.
I'm not surprised. The yellow one, I think, is the most popular one.
They only have the black one, and the girl that was there, they had it there for, I think it was a 2-year upgrade, for $39.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How did they get it lower than Amazon?
They have it listed there for $39. I think tomorrow.
Is it a refurbished?
No.
Really?
I think it's a new
See,
one.
I could see him doing that with a refurb.
You know what I'm going to do? I got to go there tomorrow to ask girl a couple of questions because I missed asking her some.
Yeah.
I'll go with my phone. I'll take a picture of it and I'll upload it just so that you can see it. But I could have sworn it was $39.
Man, somebody needs to snap that up because that made me. Oh, wait a minute, what?
What? Oh, I think that was a typo.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
think somebody should have put a 1 in front of.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we were at, speaking of, real quick, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I want to shift to the iPhone. But this morning we have once a month, we have a little prayer breakfast or men's breakfast from our church. And we meet at Rudy's. So we're there and we're sitting across from one of the newer people from our church. And I noticed he has a Lumia 521, which is a T-Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Is that a Windows phone you have there?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "My old phone died, and I really needed something, and this really looked good." And kind of gave the backstory of what led up to that. And he said, "My wife and I both have one." I'm like, "Oh, pretty good.
Cool."
So they are growing. As a matter of fact, I saw today that in the Middle East they now have they've pushed iPhones to number 3. So depending on where you go, they are very popular, but so there's a chance here. They just got to not lose the momentum because of this buyout.
Yeah.
If they lose it here, that's it. It's all over.
I don't even think the buyout's going to be a problem.
I wish I could be that confident.
I because you got to stop to realize too, Microsoft has the capital to be able to just push whatever if they really wanted to.
They do, but golly, it also makes them slow as molasses. Nokia was, look how quickly Nokia was coming out with phones. They're coming out with the 1520.
Yeah. But you see,
they're phablet.
That was the thing is, you got to go ahead and put out your product to make that revenue,
Yeah.
So they got to stay on top of it. Now that Microsoft bought them, they might just say, it might slow down a little bit, but they have the money to go ahead and,
Now, I did, the semi-major update called GDR2 has been rolling out worldwide, but for some reason AT&T, and I keep tweeting them asking about it, because I do still have my 920, and a number of my friends have a 920. They have AT&T is pretty much the last one out of the gate to roll it. There's a couple of carriers overseas that have not, but they've now announced they're not going to roll it. They're waiting for GDR3, which evidently is just about ready. I'm like, well, why didn't they just hold off on GDR2 altogether and then just let it roll into GDR3, which is adding a lot more things. It's the final update before they shift it to Windows Blue, which pretty much brings it on parity with their laptops.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I like having it back to back, but only if you can control it. If the carriers are going to get in your way, I hate carriers. If they're going to get in your way, what's the point?
Yeah.
You can produce updates all you want, but if the carriers are going to sit there with their heads in the up and locked position. So anyway, all right. So September 10th, Apple had their big event, and they announced, to everyone's joy and celebration, the iPhone 5S and the 5C. Interestingly, the stocks didn't like it too much, which I thought was odd. I think maybe they were expecting something bigger. They didn't get that, so that's why they.
Well, what ended up, I guess, supposedly from what I read on several things, is that the iPhone C was supposed to be priced a lot lower than $99.
Oh, that was definitely expected.
That was the killer right there.
Yeah.
But when they didn't, that kind of like sent some shockwaves, because they're like, well, you made, even though despite it is a cool looking phone, because they're trying to compete with some of these other carriers that are offering nicer colors. they're very attractive. But at the same time, it just kind of like, well, you were supposed to make a phone. Yeah, you cut on the material of it, but you really didn't cut too much on the price of it. I see that phone appealing to a lot of the younger people because of the color scheme that it has. Me personally, I mean, aside from maybe the yellow or the blue, I kind of like the green one, but I don't know if I'd even go with something like that.
Right.
Because of the, we look for more power and features on the phones. That obviously has a slower processor.
Well, the thing is, it's the iPhone 5.
Yeah,
I mean, the internals are, with very little differences, the iPhone 5 in a plastic case as opposed to a full metal jacket. And that's why the price didn't drop. And I'm like, well, how are you going to entice those people? You're definitely not going to hit the emerging markets with that. So if they were really trying to compete in that realm, they definitely missed the mark with that. I mean, they are, I love the colorfulness. Mm-hmm. They clearly saw their cue in HTC and Nokia. Mm-hmm. But to not have the price dramatically lower,
and that's what killed them in the stocks these last few days. But they were anticipating, I guess, a big push in China and all these other places. Because they had done, I believe, try to get some kind of agreement with cellular carriers over there. Yeah. So supposedly some of them went through, or I think they all went through, but it still didn't. It didn't happen. But I was reading an article on what's his name, Icon. That guy.
The guy that was trying to buy Dell.
The one who's trying to buy Dell. Okay, now he's got his eyes focused on Apple, and he's acquiring stock tremendously. And he was saying, "Oh, well, this company's big, hugely undervalued, and he's
hugely, even with the drop of like 6%. I think it was what that ended up being of Apple stocks. They're still huge cost.
Well, to him, he's buying large chunks of stock in Apple, and he's saying, well, this company's hugely undervalued, and I'm looking." Dude, that's like $500 a share, almost. That's undervalued. He's like sucking it up like crazy.
What do you think his game is? Is he trying to inflate the stock?
I think he's trying to inflate the stock, honestly.
Wow.
I think he's trying to get the stock back up because he owns a big portion of it.
Yeah.
So naturally, you don't want the stock to go down. You're going to try to boost it up. And this guy apparently has the resources to purchase a lot of it.
Right.
So he's sucking it up in large quantities, and he's constantly posting things. But I'll share some of those things that I actually have them here, so that you can kind of read over. And some of the things he's saying are like, okay, well, that's good for you. You got like worth like $12 billion. You can afford to buy that kind of stuff.
Right.
But well, he stopped his sights on Dell. And he figured, okay, well, I kind of...
Yeah, because Michael Dell was basically saying, you know what, I want to make the company private again.
Yeah.
No longer public offering, so he's buying up the stocks.
He's buying up all the stocks so he can take it back private. And then this guy comes in and says, no, I want a shot at this. I want to buy your company. Yeah. So then it kind of caused him to make a higher offer. Michael Dell had to go back to the books and say, okay, well, we'll offer a little bit more for the shares. And it wasn't very much either. It was like more like 12 or 13 cents more a share.
Yeah.
And then this guy says, okay, well, I'll back out. Never mind. And it just caused him to take more money out of his pocket.
So what were some of the things you were saying Icon said about Apple?
Oh, well, he just pretty much said that, as far as the price for the phone and stuff like that, yes, that it's kind of like what you said. It is an iPhone 5, but it's just in a plastic case.
Right.
But still, don't underestimate the company because it's still a good product, and they're trying to merge with different things.
Did he seem to have, and it would be a mistaken impression, did he have this impression that Apple was suddenly crashing?
He actually, that was the one thing he said, that it was hugely undervalued. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick.
I don't think they're undervalued. If anything, I think they're maybe a little overvalued, given that they're not innovating at the pace that they used to. But you also have to remember that this is an interim year, because they have kind of settled onto a routine of 1 year is the big changes, the next year is the minor changes, then the next year is big changes, next year is the minor changes. So anyway, so they had the 5C, but then they also, of course, had the 5S.
Yeah.
But so they added the space gray, the silver, and then the gold.
The gold,
which I guess that's what everybody's going to buy, is the gold one.
I don't know why. I mean, it looks okay, but
I think it's an attractive looking phone. I'm not a fan of metal phones, but I mean that's keeping pretty much in the style of the 5. And of course, there's that funny video going around that kind of lampoons what they did with it. And they said we intentionally didn't put the 5S on there.
We intentionally did it with the 5S.
So matter of fact, we just updated your. Have you seen that video?
Mm-mm.
Oh, let's see if I can find it. It was funny.
Well, I'm trying to locate the article, but I can't. But I will
for icons
for the icons comments, and I'll go ahead and I'll tweet those. So those of you that are following Rob, I'm pretty sure he'll have some interesting words to say about that. It's just he went on and just trying to just boast that the company was extremely undervalued and that they're still pushing out good products, they're still being innovative, and not to kind of pretty much give up hope on the company.
That's just amazing. Nobody's giving up hope on Apple. I mean, Apple's doing what they need to do. They're doing a good job at it. Whether you like or don't like the company or their products, they're doing what needs to be done at the pace that they're
the changing market. I would say, like I said, myself, I think and I always joke about them and I'm putting them down constantly, but the phone itself it's an actually really awesome phone, which are the Windows phones.
Oh, I was going to like, you never put Apple's phones down.
And a lot of times I'll make comments and just kind of
yes, you do
try to bait Rob.
Yes, you do.
and he comes back with these barrage of long things which actually are interesting to read. So and then at the end I'll just put LOL or something. Yeah. Because but nonetheless, they're still an attractive phone. You see it and it is different. But at the same time, with the Windows phone, the iPhone, I'm sorry, I think they're okay. I think they're gonna sell really well.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah, even at $99, they're still gonna sell because it's not $300. So to me, I think they're just making a huge thing. But they were supposed to be a little lower in price, from what I understand.
See, they could have gone with the 16 gigabyte version of the C for free on contract, and then gone from there. Yeah. I think if they'd done that,
man,
it would have. Yeah,
it would have been a huge.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think if there was any supposition that that Apple was going for the emerging market, obviously that was completely, those hopes were completely dashed with the announcement. Clearly, it's interesting because I watched the event. Everybody was live blogging it because for some odd reason, Apple did not live stream this one.
Yeah,
I thought that was very odd. But be that as it may, everybody was live blogging it and they were taking pictures and showing those. So I was following that and seeing what the comments were. And they actually said how was the phrased? In the past, we've just made we've improved the iPhone and maybe added something to it, and then we've taken the previous year and just dropped the price. Well, we're not doing that this year.
Yeah.
We are completely replacing it. I'm like, and then they introduced the 5S and the 5C, and I'm like, but the 5C is not really a replacement. I mean, it is almost as if you just gave it colorful shells in a way, because it's still the same hardware, so you get nothing really new as far as the functionality, which is fine, because the people who would have been saying, okay, I'm not ready to buy a 5S because of the money, I'll just buy the last year's model. Just like when the 5 came out, people were, if they couldn't afford that, they bought the 4S.
Yeah. You know, well, this one, you're going to be able to buy the 5C, which is the iPhone 5, you know, and there you go. It's actually a little bit
you really
less.
get the same kind of thing.
Yeah, you're getting the same thing.
It's just so funny. I was trying to find this video because it was hilarious. Where are you? Oh, I noticed that Outlook.com now adds support for IMAP. So now you can, I guess what they've now done is they've opened the door for third-party developers to write apps that can fully interface with your calendar and your inbox, stuff like that. Which I was like, okay, well, that's about time. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, somebody got a hold of a developer edition of the Lumia 920 with the GDR3 update on it, and somebody got a hold of a 920 with Windows Phone Blue on it.
Oh wow!
I'm like, what? So they must be getting ready to move ahead quicker than everybody thought, but that's just frustrating the AT&T customers, because they're like, I'm waiting for GDR2, and we just know you're gonna tell us you're gonna skip that in favor of GDR3. Oh, did you hear about where Microsoft's going with their voice interface?
No.
Cortana.
Yeah, you talked about that
from Halo.
Yeah.
Cortana. I'm like, okay, there's probably no way in the world they're going to actually use the voice, because they would have to pay the girl who does the voice for that in Halo, which is it's an AI.
Yeah.
She is also like an avatar, and so they've like oversexed her and everything. But they're supposedly trying to pick elements from Google Now and Siri, and then Tell Me, and then some other things that they're doing with some recent purchases they got. So they've been codenaming it Cortana, which I like that name. It's cool. It's got a fan attachment with the Halo universe, and everybody. As a matter of fact, there is a poll where on Microsoft's Tell Us What You Think site, and the votes are just through the roof. Keep the name Cortana. Keep the name Cortana. I'm like, okay.
Well, I mean, it sounds cool.
Yeah, it does. I was like, what? Okay, I've got to find this. so
And it was a video, or
yeah, it was funny. You got to have a sense of humor with something like this, because it does kind of
slamming the other phone.
Yeah. Where is that? Let me have to. Minions. Oh, they added a Minions game. Oh my gosh. Where are you? By the numbers. Interestingly, the 64, the big question amongst all the different tech blogs is, what does the 64-bit processor mean? They're thinking that it's not going to really result in a lot initially. Well, because software and everything is going to have to be written to take advantage of that 64-bit.
Right. A lot of the apps that are out there right now are running on just your standard 32. Even though according to the keynote, when I actually saw the video, Ed Schuller, I think that's Phil Schuller, had actually said that the apps are going to be backwards compatible, meaning you'll be able to run your old apps for the developers that have developed, apps that are running 32-bit, they'll be able to run on the 64. But now with the SDK tools that they have available now, that they're going to be able to go ahead and make their apps 64-bit, encrypted. Great, I guess. If you have, well, man, I had my iTunes account hacked one time.
What?
Yeah, 1 year. It was about 3 years ago. They took all the money out of my bank account because I actually had it with my credit card. Yeah.
How in the heck did that happen?
It actually was because it was not so much with my iTunes. It was a virus, or should I say it was a spyware that was actually on my laptop.
Oh.
So when I connected I had
like a keylogger?
Yeah. When I actually connected my phone to transfer music, from my computer to my phone, they were able to get my credit card information from all of that, and sure enough, they got all the money out of my account.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
were you able to recover it, or
the bank went ahead because the account, of course, was insured, so I was able to get all my money back. But it took me about 4 weeks to do it. So without didn't have money that whole time. Of course, my check went in and stuff, but I was missing quite a bit of money. I was able to do. They did get it back to me because they did prove that the account had gotten hacked, and they actually notified the authorities and everything. It was in Canada.
Okay, here we go.
Uh-oh.
See if I can bring it up here.
Here at Apple, we are obsessed with breaking new boundaries, and today we throw all of that out the window, and yet somehow still break boundaries. We have found a way to sell the exact same iPhone a year later, changing nothing but the name, and sell millions. And we call it the iPhone 5S. The S stands for sane.
We think you're really going to love it. Take a look.
Watch.
Isn't it revolutionary? To create the new iPhone, we started with a design that we really loved, and then stop. The iPhone 5 has been hailed as the best phone of all time because people said so.
What this tells us is that people don't really want change. Their love for Siri proves that ignorance is bliss. They still want to go on unforeseen adventures with Apple Maps.
Great.
They still prefer the phone to auto-hang up on phone calls with annoying friends. So it would be stupid to change what is already perfection.
The iPhone 5S is the best iPhone that we've ever created because of all the reasons.
We decided to spend more time on marketing because all that time added up is time. Added up. We laid off our entire engineering staff to show how dedicated we are to this new direction.
I think there is this profound and enduring beauty with how much we're able
It's
to
funny that they even talk like the commercial.
as far as we can.
We have become incredibly innovative, without exception. We're breaking new ground every day on how to deceive our mindless loyal.
We have decided to take our world-famous secrecy public, taking the same secrecy to the products while you have them.
We haven't even put the new name on the back of the iPhone 5S, so you too can be just as deceptive as we are.
The new iPhone 5S is definitely the best phone.
You won't even notice you're using the new iPhone 5S. You won't even remember upgrading to the new iPhone. In fact, you're already using the new iPhone 5S. We did an over-the-air update and automatically build your iTunes account. You're welcome. But there's one more thing. We are also launching a completely new product. It's called the iPhone 5C. C stands for cheap. It's plastic, so now everyone can afford an iPhone, even the peasants. Actually, we did change one thing. Your existing cables will no longer work. Introducing the magical new cable, the Lightning S.
Rhinestone, everything, California cliche.
That is just,
That is an awesome. Okay, I will say that.
that was well done. I mean, it was very slick.
You know what? They took some time on that one.
Yeah, they did.
That's
that
a good
wasn't
one.
just. That wasn't just. I mean, that looked like it should have been in like Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the? And I wish I could find it. Have you ever seen the Change Bank commercial?
I don't think so.
It was from, golly, at least a decade or two ago on Saturday Night Live, and it was hilarious. And basically, it was done the same way, and you had these testimonials with like a black background or white background. people talking about how they were in dire straits and I only had a 10 and I really needed 2 5s and they were able to give me change. It was a great commercial. This was done in that spirit, and
that was actually a good
that was well
commercial.
done.
That was well done. Even down to the way that they're talking and everything is just like, Johnny Evie or Ivy. Or
yeah.
And just the way that how just it was funny. That was a good one.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Well done.
Yeah,
But though you gotta actually stop to think. That actually kind of sort of makes sense in a way,
Yeah.
Because they change, something very small, very minute, and they make it sound like it's epic.
Big deal. Yeah.
They make it sound like, oh my God, this is the latest thing. Aside from the fingerprint reader, they changed the camera. They put a faster processor in the iPhone 5S. It's going to be coming out. It really still is the same phone. What I'm looking for in the iPhone is a bigger screen. That's what I'm looking for.
That was the other thing I think that the stock markets might have reacted to is that they were expecting that maybe the 5C would, as it did, carry on the mantle for the 5, but that the 5S would be a bigger screen.
Yeah,
but
and kind of open the roadway for the 6.
Yeah.
But unless they're gonna, unless in a year or so they're gonna
make a bigger one with the 6.
They're gonna make a bigger one with the 6. I'm thinking.
I'm thinking that the market may not be very kind to Apple for real, not like a piddly little 6%. I think the market may not be very nice to Apple if they don't, with the 6, come out with a bigger.
They need to do something drastic with the size of the phone. I mean, I understand their logic behind. Okay, well, if you're using the phone with one hand, you don't have to reach out, reshift the phone.
But what do you do? I mean, you saw when the 5 came out, and everybody was joking about it's just longer. They just added a row,
All they did. Yeah.
I mean, and then you see the pictures are like, well, the iPhone 8, it's like this obscenely long.
It's gonna be like the size.
But you can reach across it with your thumb.
But in all fairness and seriousness, like you said, I mean, they need to come up with something a little bit bigger
and come up with a better excuse if they don't. Than just, well, we want you to...
Okay, fine. You did it with the iPhone 5. Okay, you didn't make it bigger. You made it a little longer. But, these are the competition's eating your lunch because, one, they're selling more devices because they're a lot cheaper. Two, fine, if you're stuck with your guns that you're developing a better product or whatever than some of the other competition, that's great in your mind. But me as a consumer, I'm looking... Granted, the change in the iOS 7 that's going to be coming out, the change from the standard how it looks now isn't really that drastic.
Right.
You're going from this to say a Windows phone. That is a big change because it's an entirely different experience. But to go pretty much the same, it's actually getting a little
almost
lame.
Like that video.
Exactly. It's starting to get a little old. I am pro Apple, but come on.
But you can. What's the word I'm looking for? You can depend on customer loyalty only so far if you're going to keep treading on their expectations.
Right. Come on. Make it.
That's what Apple or that's what Microsoft did. They treaded on people's expectations too many times, and so they kind of got a bad rep as a result of that. And it was warranted, I'll admit.
So hopefully with the 6, they come up with, I'm not saying I want it to be like the Galaxy Note. That'd be a little extreme. But,
well, Nokia's doing it. They're besting them with the phablet. 6 inches. That's going to be monster. Have you seen the pictures of this thing? I could knock somebody out with it.
That's crazy. I still want to be able to fit it in my pocket.
Thank you.
Make it a little longer and just a smidge wider. That's fine, but I don't need it. It's like trying to put an iPad Mini in my pocket. That's just not going to fly.
The along those same lines, did you see Nokia's introduction, or what looks like it's going to be Nokia's introduction to the tablets. We knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
RT.
Yep.
Fail.
RT.
Big fail.
Yep.
Looks good. I'm like, man, that's going to be a sharp looking. Then they said RT. Wah, wah. Bad call. Bad call.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I know, of course, like, these things are going to sell pretty quick and pretty good. But they could have made a killing.
Oh, absolutely.
Had they just dropped the price. Like you said, make the 16 free. They would have sold out of those things like nothing.
Yep.
And then even for the 32, sell that one at $99. Man, it would have been...
As it is, now the 5S, where it's going to be priced, is going to be significantly more than the Lumia 1020 that everybody was complaining that's like, man, that's awfully steep, even though in contract, initially it was $299.
Yeah.
But they've been steadily dropping it. And if you run spec per spec, aside from the 64-bit processor, there's so many elements about the 1020 that actually are more attractive than the 5S, unless you absolutely love the idea of the thumb or the fingerprint reader. And I've already been seeing people posting about, don't know if we want to give NSA any more information about us.
Yeah, that it's only going to be stored on the phone. Yeah.
Let me ask you, exactly. Let me ask you this question, because it's caused me, somebody posted on this, and I've now been observing people. Do either you or your wife actually lock your phones?
No.
Okay.
You see, and that was something that he brought up, that there's a huge amount of, I guess, Apple phone users that don't lock their phones. So because they don't want to have to be entering the thing for every little thing. So their solution was, okay, well, let's just put a fingerprint reader, and that circumvents the having to punch in a code. For me, when I had my Android phone, I actually did have it locked, because for me it was a lot easier just doing the little blocks, or making a symbol or whatever. Yeah. That was quicker for me.
Right.
This one having to stop and was meh. So I don't. But what would
Well, I've been noticing that most people across all sorts of it's irrespective of the platform, is that people are generally not locking their phones.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. But then I thought, okay, so they add the fingerprint thing, which you can't use with gloves. So there's a huge part of the market for a large part of the year where it's going to be, I have to take my gloves off just to unlock this thing?
Yeah.
Now, the first one that comes up with like a retina scan to do it, that could be the valuable hook right there.
Yeah, but...
Because if all I have to do is just look at the phone, and it can unlock it based on that.
Well,
first one that does that.
Have you seen the Galaxy S4?
Yes.
The one to where if you're watching a video and if you look away, it freezes the video?
The thing is, it doesn't work consistently. Everybody I've talked to that has that is like, well, it's more of a gimmick than because
it works sometimes.
Yeah, it works out because there's so many bits of input that it has to pick up. You have to have it the right distance and all that. I'm like, okay. So, again, of course, a lot of people have accused the Galaxy S4 of being the kitchen sink phone.
Yeah,
they threw every gimmick. They
threw
could
everything in that thing. But you know what? I kind of like the fact that all the companies out there, Apple,
are coming up with some different things.
They're coming up with different things that, you know what? They're finally starting to think.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's get it out there.
If everybody could just get the battery thing down, that would be so good.
There was something that I remember. I think it was a video or something that I saw, or something in a newscast or something, talking about batteries. The battery is the one thing that has not changed in forever.
I know. And that is... It's interesting that because they can't get the technology improved dramatically for batteries, where's all the work been? Getting all the other aspects of the device to use less power. The processors, that's why the Haswell chip And
You know, but why invest? You know,
the
why
A7,
why
all
am I
of
going to
them.
create a processor that uses less battery or less power consumption when I just need to improve the actual the power supply?
Yeah.
You know, I'm over here worrying about this. This is great over here because if I cut, for power consumption, I'm actually slowing things down sometimes.
Right.
I need it fast, but it's going to draw more power. I need to increase power.
Yeah.
So how am I going to do that? You know what? Let's start focusing on replacing batteries.
Absolutely.
With a little nuclear chip or something in there.
That's it. Well, it's what? My watch is solar powered.
Yeah.
And I never have to wind it. It's constantly
Yeah.
charged up. And it's got a little radio in it because it sets itself by a thing in Colorado every night. It resets itself to be on time. And
my watch here, it's actually the Echo Drive, and it's powered by the sun.
yeah. Why can't we figure out how to do that right?
Yeah.
With smartphones, you would think. So
Wishful thinking.
Yep, no kidding. So interesting things coming. So, and I did see that looks like the 5C is delayed in shipping. So they've run into some sort of problem. Also read that they were having problems with getting production high enough on the actual fingerprint readers.
Yeah.
So that's going to be upset a bunch because I have to say, Apple's done a good job. They've been pretty consistent about. We announce it, and then very quickly afterward, you can get it.
Yeah.
This one, they may not make the mark if what's coming out about some of the components being challenging.
Well, they create a lot of their own stuff. They make their own processors. They do a lot of stuff, but somebody's got to put that stuff together.
Right.
So, kind of curious. Well, I guess we'll wait and see.
I had a comment on Facebook about something. I'm like, what? All right. So, as we're winding down here, some of my former students went out to do a little practice diving today out at the lake, out at Spur 454. And
Okay.
they said that they had a good dive, but visibility was only a few feet, unfortunately.
Man.
But the lake is still coming up.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Lake is still coming up, but visibility is still blah.
Did they say how high it was coming back up?
No, they just said it was definitely higher.
Okay.
Because based on what I described. to
Yeah,
them, so.
I mean, God, it was looking barren.
It's got a long way to go. I mean, I
Oh.
showed pictures last week of where the levels still are dismal.
Well, what
we got a
was it-
long way to go before we can cover up the dive chest.
How much water did we lose in feet? Total. Best guess.
65 feet.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully if they would just stop letting it out, maybe in a few months, it would probably
Yeah.
build back up pretty quick.
As a matter of fact, let me see if I can bring that in. Let me take that image out. Pardon us while we acquire an image. I think I still have it out there. I didn't delete it. Where's my picture that I took? That's not it. I think I picked a... Is this it? I think this is it. Yeah, the dive chest is right there.
God, that thing was...
It's almost the middle of the screen. So you figure that where the dive chest is was 33 feet on average underwater. And where the water used to be is it's just that's about, and it's up now. This is where it has come up.
So is the small boat still out of the? Is it out of the water or? Just,
It is just under the water now.
Okay.
So we're. I think 65 feet is a pretty good,
It's a good number.
approximation. But that's a long old walk to get up to that.
It is.
That's a long.
I remember the day when we would just barely step off of that thing and we were already touching water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember
Yep,
that?
yep.
Gosh, that made for a nice dive.
These weeds, these trees over here, these bushes, those things are taller than me. I mean, look.
But they weren't that tall though underwater.
No.
They were like little shrubs.
Yeah, they've just taken off. I mean, that just shows you. You could be buried underwater as a plant. You could be buried underwater for decades, and then suddenly you get a breath of fresh air.
You get some sunlight. You're going to grow. You come alive.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So, but of course, I still won't pass up a dive to go out there. Just another reminder, I'm in rehearsals right now with Kelly Jackson and Dr. Joel Bacon. And we're working on the next Upstagers show called Remember Me. It's a romantic comedy. It's going to run November 1st and 2nd and 8th and 9th. So if you're in the Del Rio area on either of those weekends, encourage you to stop by and check that show out. It is hilarious.
For those of you that always complain that there's nothing to do in Del Rio, there you go.
That's it.
You know, we have all kinds of stuff going on all the time.
So that's right. All right. So, all right, real quick, the administrivia. Not a lot going on. We've got, of course, our next Del Rio Dive Club meeting, 19 September. So that's coming up right around the corner.
The Kona.
That's right. And we're pretty much done for the season with Balmorhea State Park dive trips. But if you get people interested in going, you certainly can make a trip up there.
Aren't they redoing the cabins or something over there?
Yeah, but you can still like stay at the Oso Flojo, the Lhasa Apso. You can stay there. You can stay there, or
really nice,
or
really nice hotel.
It really is nice.
Reasonable prices too.
Oh, no kidding. And of course, we did have a dive class scheduled for the end of September, but nobody signed up for it, so it's too late to get going for that. But having said that, I did have a woman contact me about doing the class the weekend of the 4th of October.
The 4th of October?
Yeah. So she's taking the online portion, and then she'll just do the in-water stuff with me that weekend. So
cool.
So if you happen to be doing the e-learning stuff and want to get in on the open water portion, the in-water practical portions of that, for that October class, you can definitely contact me and we'll get you set up. And speaking of contact, you can contact us via our Facebook page at Del Rio Dive Club, or send us a message via Skype, 2 Guys Who Dive, or visit our website, www.diveclub.com. And of course, you can contact
me,
Scuba Bob, at RS Garza 435 on the Twitter. Or you can send him an email at rsgarza821@yahoo.com.
You know, I always we always talk about Twitter, you know. It's something that I want to start using more, you know. Just, you know, I'm just going to start commenting on things just
there you go.
Randomly.
That's it.
You know what? I saw some, what do you think? Just to start getting more people. I think it's cool, you know. A lot of people use it. Obviously, you know, Justin Bieber's using it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's uploading script photos and stuff like
Robin.
that. That's Robin. Robin. You know, me and Robert will be there,
Grayson.
front row Joe.
You know, I think that's a perfect name for him. Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson.
Because that's what he is.
Yeah. But, you know, that's something that I kind of always joke about, but I need to start using Twitter more often.
Yes, you absolutely do. It's worthwhile.
It is.
And, of course, you can follow me on the Twitter. Just check out Robert CFP, or send me an email, robert.wade@setifox.net. And that pretty much finishes out this week. We always love to hear your comments, suggestions. Jump in the chat room while we're doing the show live. And definitely visit our page and subscribe to our videos. We'd love to have you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's something that maybe perhaps you want us to talk about, or you know, just please let us
it out
know.
there.
Put it out there.
That's right.
We'll definitely address it, and we'd love to entertain
You betcha.
any questions
Absolutely,
or
we'll do
anything
it.
y'all may have.
Not afraid to take on all comers.
Nope.
That's right.
As you can tell, we talk about a wide variety of subjects. Just hit us up on it, and we'll
right.
see if we can make some kind of conversation.
You know it, and especially if you're in the chat room.
Although I may have to admit, you may not like what you hear, but we'll at least talk about it.
That's right. But jump in the chat room. We watch that, and we'll talk with you or talk about you.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, no names will ever be spoken, but we
That's right.
definitely
We'll change the names to protect them.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of chat rooms. You can put whatever you want in your name in there, and we'll just say Joe Schmo or
Joe. Andrea G said.
Yeah, that's right.
That can be 1,000. Andrea.
Justin B said.
He'll probably he's notorious for supposedly commenting him personally on tweets. Because he does follow his tweet fans. I remember back at the high school here, there was a girl who actually posted or made a comment on a picture or something he did. He actually responded back to the girl here himself. He tweeted her back.
Did he try to get a date with her?
No, he didn't try to get a date, but he did himself tweet back, and I remember the girl was making a big
I'm never
thing.
gonna watch
my
this
God,
phone again.
That's it. So we had to go buy her a new phone because
she wasn't gonna touch it.
She wasn't gonna touch it.
Never delete it. You better
Yeah.
keep it plugged in because if it ever loses,
She did screenshots with that, and
Gosh,
it's all over the place.
That's just sad.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, screenshot of Justin Bieber peeing in a soap bucket in a kitchen. Yeah, that's
that was real smart.
Yeah.
That's real smart there, Robin.
Okay. Gosh. So anyway, well, that pretty much finishes up us for the show this week, and we would love to see or hear from you next week on another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive.
See ya.